Hey guys, welcome back. This is History of Futurama Season 1, Episode 9 of my show, but this is about Episode 8 of Season 1. And Episode 8 in Season 1 is known as a big piece of garbage. But before I start talking about this episode, I just want to mention after this video, we'll just have one more video left to cover for Season 1. So once I post the last video, probably sometime next week, because it's getting close to the weekend and stuff. Like, I'll probably post the last video sometime either probably not on Sunday, but maybe the Saturday after. The reason why not on Sunday is because Mother's Day is going to be coming up. So, anyway, I just wanted to get that out of the way. So, probably either the last video for Season 1 will either be coming tomorrow, which is Saturday, if I have the time, or the Monday after the weekend. I just wanted to get that out of the way. But I just wanted to get that part of it out of the way there before I got into the actual episode. But anyway, this is it. Getting into the actual storyline of the episode. This is History of Futurama Season 1, Episode 8. Episodes of my 9 of my show. But this is about Episode 8 of Season 1, and Episode 8 is known as a big piece of garbage. Now, basically, the way this episode first starts off is basically Bender and the rest of the Planet Express crew get notified by Professor Farnsworth that he has been nominated for an award at the university's Mad Science Convention, which is basically a convention for people like him, that are mad scientist stuff, and basically he's wanting them to come along with him when he accepts the award and stuff. And then he shows them the invention, and then he puts this little timer that looks like a bomb device down, and they're wondering what it is, and he tells them that it's his quote and I quote, I say quote unquote death clock. I say those two words because I'm just saying the name of his invention, and he gives the others to try out, and before he takes it to the convention to get the award and stuff. And then Fry gets ecstatic about the death clock, and he wonders, it seems like fun, so he wonders how long he has to live. So basically the way the death clock works, I'm just going to explain this. The death clock works by putting a person's finger into the device, and that part of the device shows how long the person has to live. And then when Bender sees that, he's like, ooh, dibs on the CD player. Now, I'll be perfectly honest, I don't know exactly what the exact timeline of Fry's death was supposed to be with the death clock. I'm just making an assumption here, because right after that they show the opening segment, but I'm guessing it must have been pretty soon if Bender went on the dips with on the CD player thing. But that's just my guesstimate anyway. And if anyone else has a guess about that in the comment section, just please leave a comment about that, and I'll try to respond to that afterward. Anyway, getting back into what I was saying earlier, and what happens is after that they go to the university to for the award ceremony for the Mad Scientist of the Year award, basically. And then basically Farnsworth is telling the other members of the Planet Express crew about how the other members of the Mad Scientist community look up to him because he's the organization's oldest living member. And then basically that's when this other old character shows up named this is another minor character that sort of has a connection to Fry from Farnsworth, sort of. I say sort of because it's not really a connection to Fry, it's more of a connection to the professor. This character is a character named Ogden Wernstrom, which I'm just gonna reference something here. I played when there was that Futurama Game of Drones app. He was one of the bosses of that game. I just wanted to get that out of the way. I'm just referencing that old app since I brought his character up, and I knew he was a boss character for one of the chapters of the game. So that's why I brought it up. Anyway, Professor Farnsworth and Wormstrom get into this arguing match, and then after that, Wormstrom leaves, and then Fry wonders who that jerk is, and then Professor Farnsworth tells Fry his backstory. You see, how Farnsworth and Wernstrom know each other technically goes back to before the events of the series, before they both became mad scientists. You see, 100 years before the events of the series, like before Fry got frozen, Ogden Wernstrom was one of the professor's most promising students at the university on Mars. But then everything changed. But Farnsworth then says that but then after one fateful pop quiz, and then it goes to the flashback segment of the episode, and basically what happens is the young version of Ogden Wernstrom is like, A-. No one gives Ogden Wernstrom an A-. And then the young version of the professor in that time period is saying, I'm sorry, but penmanship counts, which technically is true. If the reason why he got an A-, and I actually think, this is just my personal opinion, from watching both the series on Disney Plus and remembering watching it as an adult TV show when it was on TV before it got canceled, wanting revenge on someone for 1,000 years, for 100 years, after, all because he gets an A- on a pop quiz just because of bad penmanship. That's a stupid reason to hold a grudge that almost lasts about 100 years. Because I say almost 100 because basically what happens is up until then it goes back into the present timeline, and then basically Farnsworth says, like, and here it is, slightly over 99 years later, and still no revenge. I'm essentially in the clear. So he thinks he's basically in the clear because in the present timeline, in the future, it's been almost 99 years since that event. So it's almost essentially 100 years. So he thinks he's in the clear because of it, which I kind of understand why. Anyway, what happens is basically Ogden Wernstrom is brought up to demonstrate his latest invention, and he says that he shows the fellow mad scientist that because basically a fish could never walk on land until now. And then basically what his invention is what he calls the reverse scuba suit, which basically is a scuba suit made for fish to allow them to walk on dry land without going belly up. Oh my god, I'm sorry. That's just hilarious. Anyway, he tries to use the pet fish to do tricks using the scuba suit. And now this is the funny thing about the fish, because he's explained to it in the episode. Apparently the pet fish's name is Cinnamon, which is a type of sweet like spice or some and stuff like, you know, for cinnamon buns or cinnamon rolls, which is kind of a funny name for a fish. Oh my god, I'm sorry, I just have to laugh about that. Anyway, he throws the stick to get the fish to play fetch, and then basically the fish, what happens is the fish jumps out of the fish tank and jumps into the reverse scuba suit and uses the scuba suit's robotic legs to basically walk on the ground to basically get the stick and bring it back to Farnsworth, and then to bring it back to Wernstrom, and then Wernstrom is wanting the fish to do his next trick, which is sit. He tells it to sit, and he's like, I said sit, bad fish, and then he whacks it a few times with a newspaper. Oh my god, I'm sorry, but that kind of cracks me up. Oh my god. Oh my god, I'm sorry, that's just hilarious. Anyway, then basically what happens is, the professor gets a little discouraged by that, but Fry tells him that it's no match for his death clock, and then basically after that, Wernstrom is telling Farnsworth that he is up next, and he wonders that Farnsworth's up next, and he wonders what invention that he's created that'll wow them this time. And then he's like, at first Professor Farnsworth's like, well, let's just say something that'll put you young whippersnappers in your place. And then that's when Wernstrom makes that remark where he's like, I just hope it's not any better than that death clock you made last year. And then he's like, last year. And then he says that's right, and then Farnsworth worries about that, and he wonders if the death clock that he made last year put them in its place. And then Wernstrom says hardly, and he said that they all laughed. They got a giggle out of it, and then basically he tells the fish Cinnamon to come along, and then that's when Farnsworth realizes he has to come up with a new invention in the next 10 minutes, and then he brings up the death clock thing again. Oh my god, which is, I think he's got that invention stuck in his head. Anyway, what happens is, after that, basically what happens is, after that, after another one of the scientists is through, which is using this propeller-like hat that allows him to fly, the spectator, like the one that's hosting the award event for the mad scientist, is wanting Farnsworth to come up on stage. By this point, he hasn't completed a new invention, which he called the smelloscope, and at this point the smelloscope thing is just a drawing of it on a napkin and stuff like that. And then after he shows it to them, and they get disappointed and they start laughing about it, and then he tries to back up the smelloscope and stuff, and then basically what happens is, after that, Ogden Lundstrom takes this as his chance to finally enact his essentially 100 years of revenge on Farnsworth when he sees his so-called smelloscope invention, which is the napkin, which is the drawing thing. Now, the funny thing about the smelloscope is he actually tells the Planet Express crew later on that he's actually already built one, so... Anyway, so, what happens is, I've been waiting 1,000 years for this, Farnsworth. I hereby give your invention the worst grade imaginable. A minus minus. Oh my god, and that A minus minus thing. Oh, that worst grade A minus minus. That also gets referenced in the Futurama Game of Thrones app in the Mars University chapter. I just wanted to bring that up. The reason why I say that is because if you fail the level a couple of times and he's the boss of that segment of the game, you see, every time you fail a level that has to do with the boss segment, in one of the chapters, the boss will sort of taunt the character in the game, and one of the taunts that Ogden Lundstrom does in the Mars University chapter is basically saying that performance is the worst grade imaginable. A minus minus, which I think is a sweet little tidbit to that. Anyway, I just wanted to bring that up since I mentioned the A minus minus thing, and then Farnsworth gets depressed about that, and then after the others try to cheer him up, and they tell him to try to build the machine, and then that's when Farnsworth decides to build it. And then what happens in the next scene is basically he says that he's gonna build it, but in the next scene what happens is he tells them, and they're wondering if he built the smelloscope. But he explains to the Planet Express crew that he remembered that he built one last year, and he basically tries to have them test it out since it's already built, since he built it last year and stuff. I think he actually built it, but he forgot that he actually built it until the point where he remembered he actually did, which I think is a fine point, because in the series he's an old man, so old people sometimes forget stuff like that. So anyway, getting back into what I was saying, he tells them to try to test the smelloscope out, and then basically he tells Fry to test it out, and then Fry does it. He tells this joke that there has about the planet Uranus, and the joke is basically, hey, as long as you don't make me smell Uranus. And then basically he starts to laugh about that, and then Farnsworth tells him that basically he's sorry to break the news to Fry, but scientists renamed the planet Uranus in 2620 to end that stupid joke once and for all. Oh my god. They renamed it in 2620 before the year 3000 to end the stupid Uranus joke. What the fuck? And the funny and the reason why I'm laughing because of that is what they renamed the planet in that time period, which it's called in the year 3000 now, is Eurectum. Oh my god. I'm sorry, that's just so hilarious. Eurectum. Oh my god. And then basically what happens is after that, the crew tests out the smelloscope, and then basically what happens is while they're smelling on it, Fry puts his nose to the smelloscope to smell something, and he smells something that's so horrid, it's got his olfactory senses so act up, like, grossed out. And then one of them wonders if it's just some cheese from the novel that he smelled and stuff, but then Farnsworth uses the smelloscope to smell it, and then basically what happens is he realizes that whatever it is that Fry smelled, it's so off the funkometer that it's whatever it is, it's a large mass headed straight for Earth, which will destroy it in a matter. And he said that he estimates that they have at least about roughly 72 hours. Now, it's not actually going to destroy the entire Earth, but it's actually just going to destroy New York City. And they're wondering what the smell is coming from, and then basically Farnsworth finds out what it is, and then basically he said that he tells them that the answer lies in this movie that he got off of the internet. And basically the movie is a documentary about how New York was in Fry's time, how they always dumped garbage everywhere, and the stench of it was, and according to the narrator, the stench of it was so much that the people in New York decided to launch the ball made up of the garbage from the year 2000 into space, hoping it would never, so that it would not stink up the planet. And the narrator says at the end that some scientists theorized that the garbage ball could come back to Earth, but they dismissed that as unsatisfactory. And then basically, after the movie ends, basically Farnsworth says that, so that's the situation. Due to the short-sightedness of old New York, new New York is going to be destroyed by a giant ball of garbage. And then Leela gets upset with Fry, and she asks him how could his people have just thrown in the garbage wherever they needed it. And then basically Fry wonders what they do with it. And they say that they recycle it, and robots are made from old beer cans. And Bender says that the beer can he's drinking is made from old robots, and the sandwich is made from biodegradable plastic, biodegradable food sources. Nothing in the year 3000 in New York just gets thrown away. And then Fry says that the future is disgusting, and then basically Leela gets upset with them, and she says that that's a typical 20th century attitude. And then basically Fry explains that, says that Leela has no right to, it's the 20th century because they gave the world some things like the light bulb, the TV, and the cotton gin. And then basically, Leela tells Fry that those were all made from the 19th century, which is true, but then Fry basically says that they probably just copied them, which is not really true. They say it doesn't really matter, though. Professor Farnsworth said that it doesn't really matter because the fact is that because of what happened, New York is going to be destroyed by a garbage ball, and he says that they have to inform the mayor, so they do inform the mayor. And this is the funny thing, the mayor's name in the series is Mayor Poopenmeyer, which is kind of funny. Oh, anyway, basically, after they inform the mayor about that, he says that it sounds like it's serious, and then Farnsworth says that it's very serious. He tells the mayor that it's very serious, and then the mayor says that he better just check and see if this isn't not just some hoax like global warming or secondhand smoke. And then he basically has his department send in his lead scientific expert, which is Wernstrom, and then when Farnsworth sees him, he's like, Wernstrom! And then he's like, the very same! And then he wonders what Farnsworth's invention is that he's brought to the mayor's office to show him, and then the mayor says that basically, and the mayor says that basically, well, Farnsworth says that basically he's here because a giant inking garbage ball is about to run through the planet and hit in New York. And he basically takes his smelloscope from his, I'm guessing he takes his smelloscope from his place of business and brings it to the mayor's office because he has the mayor put his nose on the smelloscope to smell it, and then he smells what Farnsworth smelled, and he's disgusted by it. And then basically what happens is after that, oh my god, Warnstrom says that smell could be anything. A faulty stench coil, some cheese on the lens, who cares? And then his assistant comes in bringing this recording, which is basically a recording left by some people from Neptune, and she plays it, and then basically it's like the people on the recording are like, giant garbage ball passed close by, horrible stench. And then she says that the transmission cuts out there, but it doesn't because the man on the tape recording keeps going, and then the assistant is like, she mentions that it keeps going, and then after it does stop, she's like, there we go. And then basically the mayor says that the senile part is right, and then basically Warnstrom wonders if he means him or Farnsworth, and he says that Farnsworth, and then Warnstrom gets upset about that, and then they decide to come up with a plan to get rid of the garbage ball, and Leela asks them if they couldn't they just shoot a missile through it? And then the general that's there says that they've simulated that on a supercomputer, but the ball itself is just too dang gooey. I'm guessing it's gooey because of all the garbage that it's made up of, because he says that it's so gooey that even if they do shoot a missile at it, the missile will just pass through it because of it being made up of being a giant ball made up entirely of garbage, which makes sense. Because if that amount of trash could form a garbage ball, you got to admit that it does logically sense that it would be really gooey, meaning that it would prevent a missile from actually going to destroy it, but rather going through it instead of fully destroying it. And then Farnsworth says that perhaps they could send a crew to plant a detonation device between this mound of coffee grinds and this mound of America Online floppy disks to basically blow up the ball. And then basically the mayor says that in theory it could work, and then Farnsworth and then Warnstrom's like, in theory yes, but you will never find a crew that'll be able to take on something that dangerous. And then Bender's like, aw, crap. And then basically he gives them the detonation device, and he tells them that once they plant the detonation device, they'll have about 25 minutes to escape the garbage ball. And then Leela wonders that's all the time they'll have. And then she tries to argue it, and then Farnsworth's like, no, there will be plenty of time to argue your decisions if and when you return. And so they basically go to the garbage ball, and then after Fry gets there, he sees all the stuff that the garbage ball is made up of, and then he says that after he's playing around with it and noticed some Bart Simpson dolls. Now, the funny thing about the Bart Simpson dolls is they're those pull on a string Bart Simpson dolls, where if you pull on the string, the character says something, and in this case, Bart's like, "Eat my shorts," and then I guess Bender takes it literally because he eats the shorts off the toy. Oh my god. Oh my god, I'm sorry, and that's just hilarious. And then basically Leela is telling Fry that this stuff was garbage when it was new, and she's wanting him to just place the detonation device so that they can get this over with. And he said that it's not garbage, and he said that it could pick through anything you want and still find something usable. But then actually decide to place the detonation device, and then Leela's telling them to get ready because they only have 25 minutes to escape. And then, 25 minutes to escape, and she says 5 minutes, 6, 8, and then it goes to a 0, 8, and she's wondering, which looks like a 9 and an 8, and which looks like a 6 and a 4, a 6 and a 4, a 9 and a 4, which makes it look like a 6 and an 8, and then basically 6 and an 8, and then basically she's like 6 minutes, and then Bender flips it over, and then he realizes that there's the problem. Apparently, the professor put the timer on upside down, and then that's when Leela realizes that Farnsworth was an idiot. The device wasn't set for 52 minutes. It wasn't set for 25 minutes. It was set for 52 seconds. 52 seconds. And then Fry said that they're gonna die, and then basically he asks Bender if that's right, and then that's right, and then in the next scene what happens is they're fiddling with the device that's about to explode, and they're playing like hot potato with it, and then they manage to throw it up in the air. And then after they throw it up in the air, the first time it comes back down, so they throw it up again, and then it explodes, which then doesn't cause the garbage ball to be destroyed. And then basically what happens is, after that, they head back to the planet after that, and then the people are booing them when they land because they didn't succeed in destroying the garbage ball. And then Farnsworth gets upset that his device didn't work because he's sure that he read the bomb plans precisely, which he kind of did, but he read the plans upside down. Oh my god, I'm sorry, that's just funny. He read them upside down. Oh, I'm sorry, that's hilarious, but I just wanted to laugh about that part. And speaking of the laughter, I will just mention this. In the last video that I'm gonna do for this season, there's a very funny song that shows up, so expect me to be laughing a little bit in that next video. I just wanted to get that out of the way there. And then basically, the news people are saying that the people of New York City are doomed, that a garbage ball will hit their planet, and blame rests with failed human scientist Hubert Farnsworth in his tiny inferior brain. And then basically she said it makes them Linda said that it makes her glad that they live in Los Angeles so they won't get hit by the garbage ball. And then Morbo says that he agrees. And then basically the professor gets upset that his device didn't destroy the garbage ball. How could he put the timer on upside down? He was sure he read the plans precisely, which he did, but he read the plans upside down. And then he says that it's all his fault, and then Fry says that it's his fault too. he's probably sure he threw away a bunch of stuff on that garbage ball as well. And he said that Leela was right. The people of the 20th century were arrogant slobs. And then the mayor is saying that they both failed, and it's time they bring a real scientist in for the action. So he brings Wernstrom in, and then basically he asks Wernstrom if he can save his city, and he says that he can, but it'll cost him. First, he needs tenure, and then he says done, and then and a certain amount of money as well as you got it. And also the third thing is access to a lab and 8 grad students. 3 of them have to be like Chinese or something. And then the mayor is wondering what that last request is. And then he says that it's done, and he asks him what his plan is. But then Wernstrom says that basically what plan, he's basically set for life, and then he gets away, and then basically Leela gets upset with him about that, and he's like, tells the mayor to do something about it, but the mayor said that he wishes he could, but he's got tenure. Oh my god. And then he decides to say that it's time to take action, which is, in this case is telling his secretary that he can have the cleaning lady rescheduled for tomorrow and stuff, and he's out of ideas to do, which was the best he could do at the point, which is understandable since they're about to be destroyed by a giant garbage ball, which is redundant that it didn't help them stop the garbage ball, but at least he was thinking ahead to the cleaning up aspect of it. Oh my god. And then basically that's when Fry gets the idea to create a second ball of garbage to fling, because they come up with a plan to basically fling an object of the same massive garbage at the garbage ball, teetering it off course and sending it into the sun, which will cause it to burn up. And then they're wondering how they can do that. The mayor's saying that they're wondering how they can do that because garbage hasn't been on the streets of Manhattan. It's been clean for over 1,000 years. And then, well, actually, because Fry said that they have to make a new garbage ball in order to do it. And that's when the mayor mentions that garbage isn't lying around Manhattan. The city's been garbage free for over 1,000 years. And then he said that they have to make it. And then Fry says that they have to basically make it. And the mayor's wondering how they can make it. And then he puts his efforts to make garbage into action. Like, he basically takes the picture of his wife and throws it on the ground, breaking the glass and stuff. And he says that he thinks the boy's onto something, and then basically Fry tells Leela to not finish that cooler, but just throw it away. And then basically he tells Bender to basically drink the beer bottle and then throw it on the ground, smashing it. And then after he does that, the mayor's like, "Get that robot some more beer!" And then basically after they trash the mayor's office, the mayor says that basically they trashed that room, but this is just the start. They have to get Fry's message out to the people, and the way they do that is actually by using the newspapers. But since they gotta use the newspapers to make garbage, they don't have anyone to pick up the newspapers off the press line, so they basically cause the newspapers to fall on the ground and basically collapse into garbage. And then basically Fry takes a message to the people of the New York in the year 3000 to take a lesson from the 20th century and make garbage. And then after a little montage where they make a new garbage ball, they decide to launch it into space. And then Farnsworth states that, but if his calculations are correct, this second garbage ball should launch the other garbage ball into the sun. And then basically Warnstrom's like, and if my calculations are correct, we're all about to die horribly. And then they start doing the countdown to launch the second garbage ball, and then Farnsworth starts counting down from 5, and he's like 5, 4, 3, 2, but then he starts recounting from 5 again because he doesn't know how to say the word 1, and then it was like, just fire the damn thing. And then so he launches the garbage, so Fry presses the button which causes the garbage ball on the rocket to be launched into space, which causes the second garbage ball to bounce into the first garbage ball and sending it into the sun as they planned. And then after that, what happens is basically Farnsworth uses the smelloscope again to smell, and he realized that what he smells is burning garbage from the sun, and they all get happy that New York was saved. And then basically the mayor is holding a award ceremony for Professor Farnsworth, and he gives him the Academy Award that was awarded to Warnstrom after he confiscated it from him, that he was apparently a jackass. And then basically Farnsworth's like, yes, in your face, Warnstrom. And then Warnstrom's like, I'll get you, Farnsworth. I'll get you even if it takes another 100 years. And then basically he's thanking Fry that they owe him a debt of gratitude as well. Were it not for his 20th century, because if it wasn't for his 20th century garbage making skills, the people in New York would be buried under 20th century garbage. And then Leela says that she wonders if they really should be celebrating, because what if the second garbage ball comes back to Earth like the first garbage ball did? And then basically Fry says that that's, who cares, because that's not going to happen for another 1,000 years. And then Farnsworth says that that's exactly right, that's not their problem. And then he says that that's the old 20th century spirit. And that's basically where this episode stops. So if you guys like this video when I post it, just please give this video the real best you guys can. And I will see you guys, probably, maybe tomorrow for the last video for season 1. I might do the last video tomorrow, but until tomorrow for the last video, guys, just please give this video the real best you guys can, and I will see you guys tomorrow for the last Power Rangers video for the last Futurama video for season 1. But until then, guys, like I always tell you with this series, fun on a bun!